it is possible to take down that robot and might have had a bit of a tactic of how to go about it himself. So RAISY, yeah, watching the BJ come out with that dual LG, that's probably not the kind of thing that you want to throw the biggest hitbox in the game at. So indeed, that probably explains why we're not getting clutch this time around. Now I'm starting this one off from the perspective, from the point of view of RAISY, who's landing some nice rails to start things off with. Railgun is a weapon that BaSe doesn't yet have available to him. So RAISY played that opening patiently in an attempt of denying BaSe access to the rail to start things off with. That's a good shot. That's going to help out a lot. Now there is a bit of an offset, right? We know that BaSe absolutely loves to delay his first item. I think he's done it more so than anyone else this tournament. But this time didn't end up working in his favor, because RAISY read that rocket jump perfectly, punished it with the railgun, and then was the first to make a move onto that small armor, and his LG was also just better. So now it is the myztro player who's got a 1-0 lead already. Heavy will be the first item to spawn. This is also an important fight, because it decides whether or not RAISY can take advantage of BaSe's initial delay. No! Oh goodness, what a play by BaSe, dropping down immediately. Going for the pretty close combat rail. Oh my god. myztro RAISY thought that it was safe to peek over the edge. But that rocket, the splash damage, proved a bit too much, kind of knocking him up into the air, and then that instant railgun to follow it up with put BaSe in an excellent position to get the frag and the mega as well. I think RAISY just assumed, you know, like, hey, mega's up behind me, yeah, I might take some damage here, maybe eat a rail or so, but either way I can just take 2 steps back and there you go, the item will be mine. But no, BaSe, the damage was too sudden, too much. And now RAISY, after being the first one to put a frag on the board, is now trailing behind his opponent. And RAISY does not have an LG. Oof. Perhaps a little lower stack-wise than RAISY thought he did. The problem there was... Yeah, good damage on the tri-bolt. The problem there was that RAISY didn't have a lightning gun yet, so he couldn't deny BaSe the jump across to the item, couldn't push him back.
He just doesn't make a long angle.
And his rocket, the rocket launcher, just perfectly obscured that doorway because he was looking up to the left. So BaSe just kind of walked in underneath his gun model, making it very difficult for RAISY to react on time. And now the Russian. 4-0 up. Now I actually forgot to ask, is there any sort of upper bracket advantage? No. Okay. Didn't think so, but wanted to be sure.
Nice. Attempt from BaSe, not gonna lead to a frag right now, and kind of in a dicey position, a lot less stacked than RAISY coming up on this mega. RAISY coming through the portal, might not go super hot. Going, oh my god, that was all right. Wonderful, wonderful mega steal from RAISY, understanding, you know, the flaw in BaSe's play, punishing it, and not only taking control, but having a lot of stack when you. Very important, and well, it's starting to wrangle out BaSe.
Also a good decision by RAISY not to just pursue mindlessly and endlessly in that situation. Instead, he turned around and he made a play for Heavy himself, rocket jumping back up the way he came from, because he knows that if he continues chasing BaSe, he's unlikely to catch up to him. He doesn't have any sort of mobility to work with. And so if he would have just followed BaSe around the map, then the Russian likely would have been able to get onto the Heavy. Also, lovely little rocket jump from RAISY right there. That was timed to absolute perfection. The moment he boosted himself across that pillar, the item appeared.
5-minute warning.
Couldn't have timed it any better.
Oh, that missed rail is going to come back to haunt RAISY. Taking that angle again is a dicey decision, but BaSe will go ahead and miss the shot. BaSe definitely outstacking and in a better position for this mega. RAISY not doing super hot so far on this fail.
Yeah, I think that RAISY, he isn't making the worst decisions, really, but sometimes the execution is lacking a little bit, and then he misses some important shots, like you mentioned yourself just moments ago. Whereas BaSe currently has 500 damage more than RAISY does. 64% on the railgun from BaSe. Not that RAISY's doing a bad job, he's sitting at 57% himself, so more than serviceable, but still. I feel like RAISY has created a few opportunities here and there, but hasn't been able to really capitalize off them. Oh no, BaSe! He went for the suicide right there because he didn't just want to sit and wait for the fire to claim him. So instead he killed himself as soon as he possibly could, because that cuts down on that, you know, the respawn time, right? The longer you sit there waiting for those final few flame ticks to finish you off, the more freedom RAISY gets walking around the map completely freely. So BaSe just shot himself down instantly to get a quick respawn and to not give up all the items to his opponent. Now RAISY does have a stack advantage this time, but it's unlikely that he can really transform this into something meaningful because of how little delay there is between the items. They're basically spawning at the exact same time, and that makes it so that if RAISY goes for the mega, well, BaSe can just go for the heavy, and of course vice versa. There we go, BaSe is the one to pick away heavy, so RAISY will fall back on that mega health instead. These are good rails though. This is what RAISY needs. 2.5 minutes for 4 frags, absolutely possible, but the damage output, it needs to be consistent, it needs to be real. Little slap on the back, and that is going to send BaSe out of bounds. Plummet to his death, can't quite make it to the teleporter. Good pressure from RAISY right there. He was pretty tender himself. Didn't have the biggest stack, but he knew that BaSe off spawn had nothing in terms of weapons to work with, so he could still safely pursue that fight, even though under other circumstances he absolutely would have needed to hold back more.
Your screams fill me with life.
Oh, that's what RAISY needed. That denial there, and being able to restack directly after so easily. Especially the ability to deny BaSe off LG so far, in a position to keep BaSe away from the LG and the rocket. Out, but BaSe looks like he will die there too, and that's going to cost BaSe the lead there, and as a result, well, how do you gotta figure it out now?
1 minute.
1 minute. This is one of the reasons why RAISY is such a scary opponent to play against. I feel like it's kind of the Rafa effect, perhaps to a smaller extent, but even when you're in the lead against him, you can never feel comfortable, because you always have to worry about that comeback happening in those final few minutes, and that's exactly what RAISY managed to pull off this time once again. Oh, both players just slow walking around. Oh! RAISY not checking his peripheral vision.
100, this skirting is insane.
He needed to land that rocket. If he had missed that shot, BaSe would have absolutely gotten the frag right there.
Oh no, that tick of lava puts him under one rail.
There are
Crazy,
health
though.
bubbles available. Oh! Good play by BaSe.
He
But
has
now 10
fire up,
seconds left.
and he's starting
think-
with a shotgun. So it's very, very, very doable.
Yeah. Oh, BaSe.
Yep, the push is gonna come in.
Will-
Raise is gonna use.
You win.
Okay, good play. Close,
played.
close. One rail would have done it. Yep, indeed. 1-0 for RAISY, that is. Also, indeed, I just glanced over to the chat, and as Dragonborn Esports representative, Defense just said these are the two players that made it in through the qualifiers. These were the only two today that weren't specifically invited for this invitational, and they actually qualified last week to the open bracket. So it's quite interesting to see these two guys actually participate and play in the grand finals for the biggest amount of the money, rather. So good to take note of that as well.
Definitely, definitely.
So RAISY taking map 1. Different from the last time they played, because keep in mind, this is the second time that they faced off against each other in this tournament. Previously, BaSe won map 1, and then RAISY brought it back with 2 wins of his own. So now, RAISY continuing that win streak that he was on of 2, adding a third one to it. That said, this is a best of 5, so RAISY needs to win 2 more maps to secure himself the victory, and that gives BaSe plenty of opportunity to claw his way back into this one. Now, Deep Embrace will be the second map, and it will be Athena versus Ranger. Interesting. We have seen this exact matchup before, right? Athena versus Ranger on Deep Embrace as well. Curious to see how this is going to go down. Fina, very powerful pick on this map, but also very risky. The moment that you get out of control, the moment that you only are able to use those grapple hooks defensively to escape fights rather than present yourself and really get, you know, a solid footing on the map and deny your opponent here, swoop in for some damage there, then you are in a really bad shape, because at that point, all you're doing is just surviving. All you can think of and use your ability for is to stay alive. And Athena, without her ability, is just a very squishy champion with very low stacks. So RAISY, of course, is a very experienced player, one of the absolute best and greatest in the world. So I don't think he will be making that mistake, but he's got to be careful, because if BaSe just, you know, turns up the heat, applies the pressure, and denies RAISY that freedom that you kind of need to make Athena work, then things could be difficult for the myztro player. Now we are loading into this map. Second one of this series. It is a Deep Embrace. RAISY taken on BaSe.
Definitely loading into it. We saw BaSe play the Athena last time. This time he's on the Ranger. They actually did play this exact matchup on the opposite champions last time in the winners final.
Prepare to fight.
R&R after that.
Yes.
Round begins.
Well, let's
in
see.
3, 2, 1.
That
Fight.
was something else.
I'm starting it off on the perspective of RAISY. Bam. Couldn't have a better synchronization between these items. Literally not a fraction of a second between them. Love to see it. RAISY immediately applying pressure. Both players missing crucial weapons, but it is BaSe who makes the best of the situation. BaSe didn't have rockets, RAISY didn't have LG. But unfortunately for RAISY, he actually very quickly found himself on the low ground, and that's not where you want to be when rockets are the only weapon in your arsenal. And that allowed BaSe to get that opening frag. Both players know exactly where the other one is. Good rails from RAISY. BaSe didn't go and pick up the railgun yet. I don't know if RAISY knows this. I think that after that fight, he should probably figure it out, because there's not much of a reason why BaSe didn't go for rail in that encounter. Other, of course, than him not having it. So I think that if RAISY puts 2 and 2 together, he's going to figure out that BaSe is still missing a key tool. Not that it matters at this point, because BaSe is going to spawn. Fresh, clean, nothing to work with.
Lost.
Oh,
Taken.
I don't know about that one. When you know that the only thing your opponent has is starting shotgun, hooking into him at point blank range with the railgun out might not be the best course of action. And RAISY did indeed feel the sting of that starting weapon to the face. Good use of the hook. Important use of the hook. Because that was actually a misplay by RAISY. Dropping down like that, right onto the LG. Oh!
Have you now?
A kill with the hook.
The
How often
second,
do you see
actually.
that? Yeah, how often do you see it? Well, twice already, actually. Indeed. Good push by BaSe.
Fire.
Ah,
What?
a little too
Ride's
far
over?
for the hook right there. I think if RAISY had basically pulled himself straight down rather than just
him
aiming
hell.
for the health bubbles, because that's really what did him in right there. Takes some time before that hook, you know, reaches its target and then starts pulling you in. So RAISY was kind of hanging in midair for half a second. And BaSe rushed him down. Good push. Rockets are fine. Rail less so.
Taken.
Okay.
What you
Risky, messy.
It's job done.
Exactly what I was gonna say next, yeah. But it gets the job done. And that's all that really matters in the end. We're not playing for style points, of course. They are welcome, right? Let's
Going down.
make no mistake. But nice.
5 by 5
And
over
stylish. That is exactly what that frag was.
RAISY just heard the word style points and kind of stopped. Like, say no more.
Style points on demand. That said, we haven't really seen, you know, that much of that typical RAISY flair, you know, the friendly disrespect,
You must feel
the
terrible having
gauntlet,
come so
the
far.
crazy plays that, you know, shouldn't work, but are done with absolute confidence,
Watch your 6.
that are bound to get under the opponent's skin. We have seen comparatively little of that today.
Now.
This is good for BaSe. But the grapple hook proves to be RAISY's save and grace. Good rail as well. If he can land another one of those, he might actually have a shot at taking away heavy. Oh, he isn't gonna risk it, but look at those grapple plays. Nexia, that is so on point.
Really
I feel like
is.
RAISY has saved himself like what, 4 or 5 times from near certain doom with a quick grapple to pull himself out of a bad position.
Honestly, I think they should start picking Athena on Exile at this rate, you know? Ain't the real reason, you know, actually, I think if you do, you know, sync error, you know, comes to your PC and shuts the server down so that you can't, you know, so that you can't not fall in line with it.
The game just crashes by default. When you try to zipple to the grapple rather too
Or
close to
Hellstorm.
the
Game just won't work anymore.
yeah.
Friends are gonna have a hard
You
time.
use the grapple hook too close to that pit and it's like, nah,
Nope.
done.
Just go back to the lobby and try again later.
Yeah.
No more elo. Your elo's gone.
Both players wanted a piece of that mega. Or rather, mainly it was BaSe wanting to pick it up. RAISY wanted to get damage. Didn't work out for the myztro player. Very few of the rockets connected with any sort of significant damage. And now RAISY's in the bad
Catch me
spot.
now.
Oh, look at that! How
That was
sneaky cheeky!
I need a
Beautiful.
gun.
And BaSe with the ... in the chat. That is exactly what I was talking about when I was discussing the RAISY flare. So good, so good. It was like, what, 50
Let's
HP or something
go,
to work
Iceman.
with? Bad spot, and he just zooms on by his opponent, takes away that small armor, and somehow brings it back. And that's one of the many reasons why we love RAISY.
Can't take much more of this.
But still, he's got his work cut out for him. He's got a 1 frag lead, but this is a small arena. Deep Embrace means that things can change oh so quickly. RAISY is in no position to just completely try and avoid base. 3.5 minutes on a map this small, that's just not something that you can afford to do. God, look at that movement. That is so crisp. And the rail. That's the cherry on top. But I love the swing with the grapple hook. Criminally underused, I feel like, at the highest levels of Quake. Because it is so difficult sometimes to pull off. And if you mess it up, then well, we've seen what one slight misstep can mean over the course of an entire game. It can be decisive. That is why it is lovely when players do successfully pull it off. Now BaSe takes away the heavy. Oh, this is not looking good for the rush, and will still clean it up with this starting shotgun, but at what cost? 15 points of health is what he was left with. For him, plenty of health bubbles around. BaSe is not in a good shape. Nope. Can't even get away. He has to stabilize now. 3 frags in 2 minutes. It's possible. It's doable. But he has to stabilize. He has to slow down RAISY's advance. And that's exactly what he did right there. RAISY kind of overextending, putting himself in a bad position. Shouldn't have shown his face there. Or at least not committed to it in the way that he did. Because now BaSe is managing to secure quite a few of the items. It's got Mega, it's got Heavy. Basically running around that max stack. I like what RAISY is going for there. Just slow playing it. Hugging that pillar around the center area of the map, not showing his face. Just kind of waiting to see what BaSe does in an attempt to play around it. I think BaSe right now just realizes that RAISY wants to kind of run down the clock, but that was a monumental mistake from RAISY. Hooking onto the Mega. It wasn't as free as it seemed. Especially with BaSe still having that orb up. He can challenge you right there on the pick. And now, the myztro player is not looking good, but that LG is fine. RAISY, how do you make it happen? Here we go. This time, he does get a hold of it. Adding a little bit of pizzazz to it as well with that little swing.
Oh.
Oh no, he doesn't have another hook.
BaSe
Luckily for him, BaSe wants nothing to do with it.
Don't blame him.
Leaves the armor up for RAISY. But that could have gone so wrong. Now with half a minute left to go, RAISY seems determined to not let this go to overtime. But with missed rails like that, it very well might. This is a good play. Excellent read by the myztro man. Knew exactly what BaSe was going for. Cut him off. But perhaps a little too soon, actually, on cutting him off.
If RAISY hadn't messed that jump up,
BaSe to get into the center of the map, then who knows what might have happened. But now this is risky.
Yeah.
RAISY, railable. BaSe. Same faith. And now both players
just
managed to get at least 100 points of health.
Just over it. The next item up is going to be that Mega. Neither player probably is going to want to go for it.
Item. Both of them really want to get a hold of it, but they know how tricky it is. Oh, that's risky. But it will work out. It will work out. RAISY. He had to make a stand right there.
Oh.
After missing that rail, I was not sure if RAISY was going to go for heavy still. But he made a stand, decided that that was the fight he wanted to take. I was just surprised to see him push that far onto heavy already, right? Because if he pushes onto heavy, BaSe, who at that point has a higher stack than he does, has the Mega to work with, has a small armor too, lands one rail, RAISY is screwed. If BaSe orbs onto him, that's the end of it. So for RAISY to commit that much, I feel like to just getting onto the heavy was a risky play. If he had landed that first rail, absolutely, but he didn't. So risky, but it ended up paying off because BaSe missed the shot of his own. And so RAISY picked up heavy and just absolutely shut him down. So good plays by RAISY. One more could do it, Nixia. This could be the final game of this invitational. RAISY, unhappy that he dropped one map to BaSe earlier, I feel like. It's not want to let that happen again. Wants to shut it down right here, right now. Third and a final map of this one is, or final, potentially final one. We can't speak too soon. Yeah, Molten Falls indeed.
Slash.
Anarchy. This should be fun. This should be a treat.
I cannot wait. The only thing I'm waiting on is BaSe to say R, but you know, we'll be there in just a second, as that'll be our third map out of potentially what could be 5.
And just to keep in mind, this is or has been EU Central for all of the maps in this grand final. We're playing for $350. That is the first prize. RAISY looking to take it away. But BaSe, we've seen him bring back series from the brink of death. We have seen him claw his way back from lower brackets at a disadvantage and still come out on top in some of these community tournaments. So who's to say that he can't do it again? Now Molten Falls, BaSe on Slash versus RAISY on Anarchy. I feel like this is the opposite of what you'd expect, right? Anarchy being played by BaSe on Molten Falls. I said it earlier, right? Name a more iconic trio. You hardly can, but this time around, it's actually RAISY running our junkie with the hoverboard. So let's see what BaSe can do to stop him.
Yep, loading into Molten, what could very well be our final map. I'm always excited to see some Slash play, of course, but yeah, definitely.
Loading into the map right now. Warm-up should be coming to a close in mere moments. I'm curious, I haven't actually looked at the predictions. 76% for RAISY. Okay. It looks like the people who put their faith in myztro going to be rewarded.
Yep. Starting out with BaSe here. RAISY, sorry, got him messed up.
Okay, starting it off on BaSe. Let's see. BaSe wants the rail. He hears that bounce pad. He knows that it's safe for him to take away that weapon. So they ultimately trade. Yep. They trade damage and they trade weapons. Railgun for RAISY, rockets for BaSe. Oh, okay. I thought that was going to be a ring out.
Yeah. That's perfect though from RAISY, especially because it's a kill at the heavy. It's a kill at the rail with the heavy up. He has time to get the heavy and then rotate back over to that rail to prevent BaSe from getting there. He knows where BaSe is. BaSe can't peek out without the risk of the rail. And well, now he can fall off, he can fall back, and he can keep BaSe away from the rail, because it's such a central weapon. It's so important, not only to, you know, just how you play the game, but even like BaSe specifically is known for, you know, super heavy, super strong rail. And, you know, RAISY denying that is exactly what he needs to do to win this, to keep, especially as a Slash, you know, rail's incredibly important to how you play the map, how you rotate around it. And, well, denying it is just kind of a death sentence, you know? He needs to do something to push RAISY away from it, whether that be, you know, the use of a Slash trail to blow through so quickly, or anything like that. And, you know, RAISY, he knows it. He's just chilling. He'll go get the heavy, and other than that, he'll kind of just sit here and wait for BaSe to get into a position that's unfavorable.
Basically using BaSe's strategy against him, because that is BaSe's comfort zone. That little teleporter next to the railgun, that is really where BaSe enjoys hanging out and just reacting to what his opponent does. But BaSe is...
This extension actually is going to give BaSe the rail. I think RAISY could have pushed in there. I'm not him. I don't know why he wouldn't. He's infinitely better at the game than I am. But wonderful catch out with beautiful rockets.
Scoreline is already starting to spiral. 4-0 for RAISY. Also, I stand corrected. First place gets $300, not $350, like I said earlier. That was my mistake. Person who wins this set gets 300. Second place will take home 150. So that is how the prize pool will be divided here. And the third place gains 50, so that's identical. Now Heavy's about to spawn. BaSe has the better position. Can't really connect with any of the rockets, or at least the better position to deal damage, not the better position overall.
Oh my god, that was dirty.
Damn. RAISY so fast. 66% railgun so far by RAISY. 75. For his base has landed 100, but has only shot twice, so... This is so good for RAISY.
That says so much about how RAISY's playing this map. The fact that BaSe has only had the chance to shoot the railgun twice.
Yeah. Excellent control by RAISY. Looping back around for Mega. I also like how RAISY's approaching this. He's playing his game around finding base. The items of course matter, but they come second. He is so comfortable leaving Mega up just to make a move all the way on this other side of the map. Just to scope out base. You know, he's like, okay, I'm not going to pick up Mega. Instead, I'm going to leave it to fall back on. And I'm going to take base maybe by surprise by going to the right instead, you know. He's going to expect me to be over at Mega. So maybe he just comes through this teleporter a little carelessly and I can get a frag. So that's how RAISY is playing this. So clever, knowing that he's got resources to fall back on and playing around his opponents instead of just sticking to the items. Oh, okay. Surprising outcome. RAISY, after having such consistent control for a while, gets taken down by the super shotgun. Utilized perfectly by BaSe. Oh no, RAISY gets baited in by the rocket. I don't know if that was visible on stream because we were on BaSe's point of view, but the rocket that RAISY dropped when he died previously was sitting in that doorway. And so I think RAISY looked at it and was like, oh, yeah, I don't have a rocket launcher yet. I could do with that weapon. Yeah, let me go pick it up. And then as he approached it, out came BaSe. And at that point, RAISY was too far gone. Didn't have a way of getting back out of the room, and so given up a frag. Good rail by BaSe. We're only 5 minutes into this map. Yes, he's down by 4 frags, and yes, RAISY is very slippery and difficult to catch when he wants to be. But this is BaSe that we're talking about, and he's playing one of, if not the single fastest champion in the entire game.
Stopwatch.
Good play from BaSe. That's really kind of what he needs to do. 3 more times without making any mistakes.
Yeah, if he just keeps cycling the item. Oh. That hurts, that hurts. Going up the bounce pad like that against RAISY's LG. I almost feel like BaSe is lucky that he got out of there alive. And that misplay. Oh, what?
It's a mistake showing your face
RAISY.
around here.
I think jumping the gun a bit. I was expecting maybe the plasma trail to disappear sooner than it did. Because he just gave away a free frag. And now it's just a 2-point game. This is not looking too shabby for BaSe, at least if he's going to stop going up bounce pads with RAISY coming around the corner, then still has a shot making this happen. But the effort in front of him is nothing short of Herculean. He needs to win 3 maps in a row, whereas all RAISY needs to do is hang on to this 3-point lead that he has. No, Heavy is going to be the next item. BaSe is outstacked. Does he want to go for it? RAISY is even doing some self-damage to deny the small armors as well. BaSe dropping down. Looks like it's working out for him, at least for the time being. It's not bad for the Russian at all. SLG is good too. He will take down RAISY. Nice. Solid play by BaSe.
See that?
Oh, RAISY, you don't want to drop down there. I feel like BaSe could have switched to the rail a moment sooner. But of course, it was very difficult for him to just pinpoint the right amount, the right moment there, because RAISY still had that injection. So I get what he was going for. And now it's a 1-point game. RAISY ahead by just a single frag. And BaSe has been consistently able to catch him out.
Stopwatch.
Even when RAISY tries to play as defensively as he can. And here we go, it might happen again. Nope, RAISY leaves just in time. Heard the teleporter.
BaSe is denying every single armor shard on the map. RAISY needs to run a minute and change to go before he'll be good. Whether he'll make it or not, though, is kind of up in the air. We will have to see. BaSe swinging around, going for the rail onto BaSe is going to be missed, and the LG fight is not going to come in either player's favor. BaSe is on the chase, and a beautiful dart onto RAISY.
Keeping up with me.
RAISY just jumped into that rail. BaSe didn't even move his crosshair. He just kept it right at the doorway. And RAISY strafed right into it. 7-7. 45 seconds left to go. BaSe has a massive stack advantage. The only thing that's kind of keeping RAISY into this fight right now is the fact that he used that injection. Gave himself a bit of overstack of spawn. But this is tricky for the myztro player. He's losing out on Mega. Probably going to lose out on Heavy as well. Oh, what is he doing? So risky by RAISY. Does get the high ground.
Oh no.
Oh, good.
Yep.
The trail. The trail is actually what gets the frag.
You can't fuck with the slash trail.
My
Nope.
rules.
BaSe got 2 frags this map with the slash trail, the plasma trail. Got him 2 kills. The first one, I think, was well, a pretty obvious misplay on RAISY's end. Kind of jumped into it. I think he expected it to dissipate like as he was approaching it, but nope, it lasted a little longer than he had accounted for. But yeah, that last one, it's tricky. It's tricky. I don't think that RAISY should have shown his face right there. I called it, right? The moment that I saw him just set up shop at that teleporter, you know, Slash has that ghost, or the ghost trail. It's been a long day. It's been a long day. Slash has that plasma ability at the ready. She can get such a fast speed boost. So even if you do land like a decent rocket, you manage to hide a little bit in that alcove at the teleporter. Well, what's going to happen is exactly what did happen. BaSe takes away Heavy. BaSe pops that ability. RAISY tries to leave. BaSe says, no, you're not going anywhere, son. Get over here. Out comes the grapple hook, as if he was Scorpion. Yeah, that is exactly what it took. RAISY couldn't deal with that burst of speed at the very end and dropped a frag because of it. He still tried to get out of the room, but then he just ends up completing the circle right back into the explosion. And that is what allowed BaSe to now get a point on the board as well. BaSe definitely not just taking it, he's fighting back.
Definitely, definitely. We are on that map for now. Awoken. What do we
And
think?
it will be Doomslayer again. Second time we're seeing him play today. Versus RAISY, who will be running the Strog and the Peaker. So, interesting matchup. Doom, you know, we talked about it before. There's been some balance changes, right? On the one hand, I think that his active ability, the punches, have gained some utility in the sense that you can now do the lunge towards any direction. It doesn't have to be focused on an enemy, which makes it a very powerful tool of getting around the map. We've also seen players hit 3 punches in a row, quite tricky ones at that. So definitely still an offensively powerful part of your kit as well. But now it also allows you to complete more jumps, to make to just move around the map more freely, to conserve that momentum by pushing and continuing to strafe afterwards. But on the other hand, there has been a clear nerf in terms of the double jump height. Doomslayer doesn't jump as high as he used to, and some of those signature jumps that he was able to do before, like right here, although I don't think this is being shown on stream right now, but right near the LG area of this map, you used to be able to immediately jump from the LG up to the tri-bolt on Awoken. That is no longer possible. You need to add a little bit of a nail jump boost to it to get the required height. So it's definitely a bit of a balance change. Stronger in some ways, a clear nerf in others. So Doom's position in the meta might shift a bit.
Starting out on RAISY here, setting himself up with the heavy and the rail. BaSe has yet to acquire a rail, as RAISY's making the roundabouts, grabbing everything on the map, and BaSe is playing super slow. RAISY's actually able to grab everything and then go back to a point, somewhat defending the rail, but BaSe will catch him out with the rockets, and one cycle later, nothing will have fundamentally changed. RAISY doesn't have a lot of stack, but we're gonna swing around and get back going. Stacks are mildly even again. RAISY has a chance to deny armor and keep BaSe from getting another shard. Only 2 of them up at the moment, so... Ooh, that switch from BaSe. From RAISY.
Good LG from BaSe. That's really been his star weapon, I feel like, for much of the series today. And I'm saying that knowing very well that BaSe had 100% railgun accuracy for several minutes in one of the maps earlier, but his LG has just been beautiful. Now look at this. Okay, well, I think that might be the very first time I've seen anything like that in all my time casting Quake. A Doomslayer using the Berserk, just tiptoeing away from a peeker who's just shooting away, knowing that the Doom can't do anything to take it down. That's, I think, a first for me. And that allows RAISY to tie it back up. 1-1. BaSe doesn't have LG.
Wow, that tracking.
Yep, beautiful. This should definitely be a frag for RAISY.
Yep.
Okay, BaSe makes the most out of that situation, though, by landing a good final rail. The Peeker has done a lot for RAISY so far. Usually you don't see that amount of damage from the pistol alone. RAISY has done what? I feel like 300 damage with that ability alone, not like thinking of the kamikaze.
RAISY will die in one Doom Punch, but BaSe will also die in a rail. Disengaging is going to get it, and BaSe is going to get caught out there, which is absolutely wonderful. So let's just swing back up.
Bit of a misplay by RAISY right there. Chasing BaSe around like that, knowing that Mega was going to spawn. Kinda gave it up there, and then put himself in a bad position too. I feel like that was more of a desperation peeker. He was barely in cover to begin with, so... To the people in chat, yes, you can take down the peeker with a punch, but very difficult to do, because 1, it takes 2 punches, it doesn't go down in 1 punch, and 2, it's difficult to aim, especially now that you have no lock on, no anything to work with.
And especially if you go for the punch 2, you're opening yourself to move in a straight direction at the peeker, which is just a welcome advantage to take like 45 to 90 damage, which is never optional. And if you have your Doom Punch out, something else has probably gone wrong, and you're probably using it to avoid damage in the first place.
Nice little use of the nail gun right there by RAISY. Getting himself some extra height off the bounce pad straight into the railgun window. Good rockets. It's a free 130 points of damage. BaSe is looking good though. Oh no, oh no!
Oh!
What did I say? Damn, Peeker is the star of this matchup.
How RAISY, and by extent, yes, the Peeker, are doing a wonderful job.
Indeed. It's like usually, you know, most matches where Peeker is used effectively, players tend to get most of their damage from just the kamikaze, right? They just deploy it when they're dropping down, they instantly send it flying at their opponent or something like that. But RAISY is prioritizing the turret on the little robot.
It deals
And he's
loads
done.
of damage. You know,
It
I feel like
does.
it's super underappreciated that 15 damage for each pellet. If you, it's kind of like plasma, you know, but you don't see players go in with plasma because it's super dangerous. But with Peeker, you know, you're not about to die. So, well, generally, so it's a lot safer, you know.
Indeed, yeah. I feel like this, if BaSe manages to pull this off, I think it would be the biggest comeback we've seen today. 8 frags in 4 minutes. That's a breakneck pace.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider that RAISY has got the higher base speed of these two champions, right? Yeah, Doomslayer has more vertical mobility, but making his way around the corners, building up speed, accelerating quickly, that's really Strog's domain here. Unless he uses the punch, the berserk, then BaSe is outmaneuvered considerably. Good play there. Good play. I feel like a little predictable for RAISY to still go for that jump right there. The moment he took off, I clenched up. I was like, oh, I feel it coming, right? That exposed back, the glory hole. You know where this is going, chat. That's exactly what BaSe made good on. But still, it barely puts a dent in the lead that RAISY has. And that's another really clever play by the myztro player. Knowing exactly where his opponent is going to be coming from. So he just hides out of plain sight, waits for BaSe to attempt the double jump across. And now he does it again. This time, you know, he was in a worse position to actually stop the momentum, but previously he read it perfectly. Knew exactly what BaSe wanted, and I just sent him right back down with thunderous LG. BaSe, this would be a miracle. You know, as much as we enjoy saying that there is still time, there ain't much of it. Let's put it like that.
BaSe is a little bit too much on the back foot for there to be way too much time, but you know, there's technically still time. Good one from him. Speaking of BaSe, he is still technically playing the game. And as a result, is going to be swinging around, trying to grab it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Props to him. I'm not gonna call an early GG this time around. I think he wants to... You know, it's the grand finals. He wants to see it through, but... I think everyone already knows that this will be RAISY taking home the map, the series, and thus the grand finals as well. BaSe still fighting, still trying, admirably so, but we all know it's to no avail. This is RAISY's victory lap. He knows it, BaSe knows it, we all know it. So I'd like to be the first to congratulate myztro RAISY. First making it in through the qualifiers last week. And now, successfully clearing his run all the way through the upper bracket. Barely dropping any maps.
Definitely.
Or the only maps that RAISY... Oh no, RAISY also lost the map to CNZ. That's
Yes.
right, that's
It was a very good map.
Indeed, indeed. That's probably still my favorite single map of the day. Was that CNZ taking down RAISY's clutch on Veil? Good play, good play.
Yeah, so that's, you know, really wonderful from RAISY.
Killing spree.
Yeah.
Yep. 10 seconds, mathematical impossibility. Congratulations, RAISY. Well played to BaSe as well. The man fought hard. Still brought back that third map.
Indeed,
Proved himself
indeed.
once again to be one of the strongest players. Not